Good morning, everyone. It makes complete sense to me that a hastily announced Saturday call went unattended. Again, that sounded more passive-aggressive than I meant. It genuinely makes sense. So what I figured I'd do is show y'all the PowerPoint that I did at TutorCon, and using that, then kind of talk about what the dates will be with the pop-up, what we are meant to do with it, and more importantly, kind of why it matters and how you can help if it is that you want to help. And hopefully I convince some of y'all that are ambivalent about this whole thing to help by the end of it. And if you're ambivalent about it, the whole thing, because I'm a mess and various other things, fair. I'm also drinking coffee while doing this, so I might just speed up progressively. Alright. I didn't know you all were here. Pop-up writing centers as engagement on an urban campus. I'm Cassie. And this is the story of pop-ups and what we're going to do with them. So for those who maybe don't know me super well or don't have heard pop-ups talked about but never really elaborated on, in large part due to my not being at any of the trainings or any such things. Pop-ups started last semester when JJ proposed them as a project. In their initial proposition, the idea of it was that they would be kind of spontaneous, take a picture on Instagram and say, oh, come find me where I am, we are, and get writing center consultations. I was combining consultations and sessions, but concessions is already a word. It means like M&Ms. Anyway, I need to not drink coffee when I'm doing this. Anyway, so over a few practice runs last semester and some more intensive research this semester, which is what I've been doing up till now, because basically what I found is that no student wanted to have a pop-up or meet with a pop-up when it was cold outside, and now that it's getting warmer, that can change. So I've been spending my time on research and on scheduling. And what I basically found is that they really can't be spontaneous. We can't have that come find us element on social media, and they cannot be full-length sessions. Boo. In real life, whoops. I thought there was another animation on that slide. In real life, as the counterpoints to this, instead of spontaneity is actually pretty rigorous scheduling. Instead of come find us on social media, although I admit I've let the ball drop on that, it'll be a little bit more planned and laid out where exactly we'll be, which I'll send that schedule to all the appropriate marketing people and to Louie for social media. And instead of full-length sessions, we're talking 15, 20-minute things. For those trained in 2 and 20, I would absolutely love your participation in the pop-ups. For those not trained in 2 and 20, I would equally love your participation in the pop-ups. So then let's answer the question, what on earth is a pop-up? So, a brief excursion featuring 2 writing center consultants focused on providing brief pattern identifying consultations or generalized knowledge pertaining to writing processes and modes of operation. Modes of operation here is a more generalized term for this is how citation methods would work, or this is how you would present this kind of information in a first paragraph. Basically nothing more than we would expect to be done in a 15-minute session. The other thing with this pop-up definition is I do believe that 2 or 3 is the ideal number of consultants, because what we've seen in past runs with pop-ups is that a lot of times the function turns into getting people signed up for sessions either in the Student Success Building or in the King Center. And this way, having two there just kind of helps that process. As far as what a pop-up looks like when it is implemented, many of them will be outside. So that'll be a thing to worry or be aware of. I think similarly to people spearheading these projects, I have this idealized vision of people stowing their t-shirts in their lockers so that, or in their cubbies, so that they could wear them on these kind of events to kind of let them know who we are and that this is a new thing that we're doing. But if t-shirts aren't readily available or available at all, then having a Writing Center banner alongside a table would be fine. I'm also looking for some people who are willing to make poster boards or who have extra cardboard or anything like that lying around, just to write questions, kind of catching eye questions, so instead of prove me wrong, this or that, or do you believe God exists, or whatever other signs they see on campus, we can have ones that say things like, what's the most frustrating thing about writing? Or tell me about your newest writing project. Things that kind of get the student engaged and while also portraying the image that we want to portray of the Writing Center as not being a place for as not being a punishment. I was about to phrase it poorly, so that was why I paused. As not being a punishment for bad writing, as being a place where you can show your frustrations or joys about writing, and we're just there to listen and to help. So the main thing that I've been researching, among many things, has been Kairos, which is, combining Writing Center and timing. We'll get into this later, but MSU Denver is a very timely campus because of its size, because of its demographics, because of its commutability. It is very much focused on the now and what presently can be done and what the modern working adult is dealing with. So part of the idea of the Writing Centers then is to expand the definition of the Writing Center as a place, and I really like this quote from, I think it's Elizabeth Busquets. Place is commonly defined as a geographical space rich with personal meaning, but places can lead to stagnation if the student does not reflect on the options between those places. Kairos depends on place and space. So kind of the pop-ups will be addressing those options between the official places of the Writing Center, and therefore will be placed in high traffic areas. The hardest place to get a table I'm figuring out is within the Tivoli, that kind of most northeast entrance, where there's a lot of tables a lot of the time. I'm getting tables there. Very frequently we'll be in the quad that's between the Arts and the Plaza building, just because students are used to seeing tables there. And similarly, that's a location where if after 15 minutes we want to schedule them with a broader appointment, then we can point in literally any direction and there'll be a Writing Center within reasonable distance to where they are. Okay, so I'm going to derail a little bit here from what the PowerPoint says, so I might just leave it on this slide or keep it back and forth, because again, this was the conference kind of pitching the idea of pop-ups to other universities and talking to them about what things to consider when constructing them. But like I said, we are a commuter campus, so it makes sense to me to find those places of most frequent walking commute. I looked into for a long time, one of the things that I was really curious and hopeful about, that we could station at Colfax Center area, catch people while they're waiting. As far as I can tell, that's a solid no. I'd be fine to ask forgiveness rather than permission once, but I would only do that with express permission from everyone else involved. Because I think that while people wait for their trains, they are thinking about a couple of these things, or maybe if they aren't, it would be a way to pass the time while waiting for a train. anyway, that was a massive tangent to say we're dealing with a campus, and all of us as employees probably have a second job or classes or any number of family responsibilities that keep us from just popping down on campus to make sure that we can get our writing attended to. I think I was very optimistic last semester and tried to stage one during spring break, or no, Thanksgiving break, because that was last semester and this is this semester. Oy. We might pitch it again, and that would be one that I think could work better in the Tivoli brewery itself. But no one wants to come down to a campus when they have all of this other stuff on a time that they're not mandated to. So that's why we won't be doing that. Anyway, this has turned very rambling, but it's kind of justifying what a pop-up is, why it's important, which I think is important. Yeah. Oh, this is an important one. I'm sorry for skipping around. So the purpose of the pop-ups, I think, will be twofold, especially next semester, where we hit the ground running with them earlier in the semester, and they can serve as marketing when it is that we're not doing orientations and those aren't set up yet. So when it is that we are using these pop-ups as marketing, it's really about just student engagement, kind of, again, reinforcing us as consultants, not as punishers or adherers to a certain strict will, but of people who are willing to listen and help you with your writing process. But at this point in this semester, we'll really be focused on my very eloquently worded writing centering. And writing centering is just that, writing brief sessions, assisting with citation. I think when you have a pop-up, bringing one of those generalized style books that kind of briefly summarizes all three would be a really good idea just to have on hand. And maybe a little bit of scratch paper, but I think at the point that scratch paper gets involved, setting them up to to a longer session would be good. And as writing centering goes, like I said, the 2 and 20 format I think could work really well for pop-ups, but there's sorry, you'll occasionally hear my dog whine. But there's few enough people right now who have had a 2 and 20 training session that just being prepared for 15-minute sessions in general is part of the deal. And the other element of pop-ups that I know a couple of people maybe weren't comfortable with last semester, but I would still like to see happen, is just, again, that campus outreach element. So having the signs that say, tell us about your writing frustrations, or tell us about your most recent writing assignment. That really part of the purpose is to engage and to speak out, not just sit and passively let people pass by, but ask if they're frustrated about something. Ask, even if they've had a frustrating experience at the writing center, we can get them to take a survey then and there and figure out some more things that way, or figure out, tell me what you know about the writing center. I contemplated prizes for this for a while, but I don't think that that's a good idea, but we could find some swag to pass out if need be. So yeah, as far as marketing versus writing centering, at this point we'll lean much more on the writing centering, but there's a sort of marketing element where it is just engaging with students, reaching out, not exactly shouting across the square, hey, tell me about writing this. Sorry for anyone watching with headphones. But yeah, that'll be what we're doing. Yeah. So, oh, this is nice. I was able to skip the other one, but So making them feel spontaneous is fun for Writing Center, and educating about services and resources is nice. The other element that popped up recently, was really organization-specific workshops, which would be very exciting. And sorry for my laptop noise and my dog whining again. Give me one sec.